Physically attractive but social awkward people. What's your story? People say I'm attractive but I don't think so. I was always the chubby awkward kid till I hit puberty. The outside might have changed but I'm still ridiculously awkward. Now people just think it's cute rather than weird. Growing up poor with messed up teeth and super thick eyebrows didn't do wonders for my confidence. I was dumbfounded on the last day of high school when my friends said a lot of girls liked me. Even though those are fixed now, I still can't tell if women find me attractive or not. Used to spend most of my early teen years on the internet instead of going out and socializing. Even ordering food at a restaurant was a difficult task for me. I have gotten a lot better in the last couple of months. The trick is leaving your house, going out and practicing talking to others. I can pass for normal but I still feel broken. Still hate it. I have Asperger's and just happen to be pretty good looking. Funnily enough, I've had people doubt I have Asperger's because I'm good looking. Like that has anything to do with it. I get hit on quite a lot but once I begin getting close to people I tend to talk enthusiastically about certain things and then I just become really quiet when I do not have things to talk about. Often get called for being really pretty but weird. Most of the time I just hang out with my boyfriend and not going out so much. Occasionally asked him if he thinks I'm weird. He said I am very odd in how I think sometimes. Not sure if that's really an issue. I am quite happy this way. I relate so much. In high school I would get called the pretty loser girl because my personality didn't align with how people thought someone that looked like me should act. Basically I feel that most of the good things about being an attractive male depend on being an attractive, confident male. I know that girls are interested in me and despite being creepy, I've never been accused of being a creeper, but unless I'm manic I can't date worth crap. Well, I consider myself attractive, but ADD limits me at points. I have to put effort into staying in tune to a conversation. Although, even if I am tuned in, my mind racing pushes me to say the first thing that comes to mind, which isn't always great. People usually think I'm social and good to talk to, when in reality I just say the first thing that comes to mind and ramble on because the in-between silences of a conversation are excruciating. It comes off as confidence when in reality I am grasping for straws in a state of complete inner panic. People said that I am pretty, although I don't think I am, and assume I am an extrovert party girl, but the fact is, I'm awkward AF and do not know how to flirt. People often take my social awkwardness as a kind of snobbishness arrogance, which kind of frustrates me. I was an overweighted tomboy who eats ramen for breakfast till year 13. I am terribly awkward, and prefer anime rather than clubbing. That is exactly what happens to me too. I have been told many times that I'm pretty and people must assume my personality must be different than it is because of my looks. I can be very quiet at times too and I think people take it as arrogance or me not liking them as well. I'm just shy and don't know what to say a lot of the times. I don't have one. I'm physically attractive but socially awkward. That's my goddamn story. Somehow I got to know a girl well enough to convince her to marry me so I don't have to worry about it anymore. Sick username LOL. I didn't realize I was attractive until I was 29. The first relationship I ever had was with someone who treated me like garbage and convinced me I was ugly, and that stuck with me for too long. If you can't already tell, I'm a sensitive guy. At 29 I met an amazing woman who went out of her way to help build my self-confidence up. She got me to stand up straighter, to smile more, and to feel like I was good enough to be with whoever I wanted to. I stopped looking at dating as maybe she'll think I'm good enough and started looking at it as maybe she'll be good enough for me. Suddenly I was realizing how many women were smiling at me. I started to realize that what I always mistook for girls not being remotely interested was in fact girls being nervous and intimidated by me and confused by the fact that I never flirted back. I had felt alone for my entire life, and when the floodgates opened I realized just how many women had tried to get close to me that I brushed off because I had so little confidence in myself. I'd love to say the story has a happy ending because I'm sure it will, but I'm not there yet. The woman who helped snap me out of it remains my best friend and is married in a relationship of her own to this day. I used to go on maybe 1 or 2 dates a year, but it's a weekly thing now. On the bright side, your prime won't end for 15 years, bro. Good luck and life. I get complimented by strangers and don't know how to respond. I went Old Navy by myself one day to look for a graduation outfit and a younger girl approached me. Girl, not to be weird, but you're probably one of the prettiest girls I've ever seen. Me. Walks out of the store. Any attention drawn to me makes me extremely uncomfortable. Hey, it's me, the girl. My roommates would throw huge parties and I'd hang back instead of engaging in conversation. One girl thought I was a bit Gatsby-esque and wanted to reach out and get to know me. We've been married for over 2 years now. Gatsby. I'm pretty popular with women in my neighborhood but grew up in an abandoned mansion and have scissors for hands. The scissors are very awkward for me. I have Asperger's, but have had many girlfriends. I think they realize something is off about me and think it's cute. I have pretty bad social anxiety and still prefer being alone. Most girlfriends don't understand this. Looks theory always confirms. Always. I've been on both sides, was overweight, then lost it and was considered attractive. During my attractive years I found people would approach me for friendship much more often, men and women. Enjoyed that time and figured it was me coming out of my shell. Then I gained a bunch back and regressed to not as attractive. I found that despite me being more social due to habits, people didn't respond nearly as well. I retreated to being socially isolated. Then, I lost weight and got into really good shape again. I've found the same results of people being much more personable and friendly, including strangers. Unfortunately, this has made me jaded and a little sad that so much of my social interactions seem to be based on my looks. Alas, now I'm fit, have a few select friends, and generally prefer staying away from new people. It's quite a roller coaster. Not just everyone's look. Spent the whole of school with few to zero friends. The friends I did occasionally have, I couldn't actually talk to properly. They weren't so much friends as people who let me stand near them without shooing me away. Had a couple of boys late on in high school tell me I was pretty and ask me out. I literally could not believe they were serious. I 100% thought they were joking to be mean. Spoke to them years later and found out they were serious. Eventually discovered alcohol, which let me talk to people and make out with some boys and even get a boyfriend. It was like a magic potion for me. Please don't go overboard and get addicted, make a tit of yourself. Eventually, with the friends I made whilst drunk at parties, I eventually and very slowly managed to transition from being sociable whilst drunk to being able to be sociable whilst sober. It was a slow road. I often had to stop and ask myself what would a normal person do, or even what would drunk me do, in order to successfully navigate a social situation. I've come a long way. I think I can probably say I'm more or less normal now. Shy, but I can pass for normal. Crippling social anxiety. First real relationship ruined me, so strange concept of self-esteem even 10 years later now. Shoots fun. I suck at talking to people and I don't always treat them well. Like taking forever to reply doesn't really bother me when others do this, but I noticed lots of people get mad. I get the sense that people, especially men, put up with my crap because I'm a decently attractive girl. I always wonder if that's the only reason they're even talking to me. I don't mean to judge you without knowing you, but there's a good chance that's the biggest reason, especially if you take forever to reply. I didn't fill out until I was around 22. Went my whole life without getting compliments, but then they started steadily coming after. I was taken off guard, still am. Sometimes, when an attractive girl started chatting me up, I'm reasonably perceptive, so I know what's going on when they do it, but I still haven't practiced enough to be good at reacting. It's a crapshoot. Sometimes I react well and other times I don't. Getting better at it though. I feel like because I'm pretty and young, people assume that I will be nice and social. It seems that they try to get to know me and eventually realize that I am, in fact, not a soft, sweet young woman full of energy and love for humankind, but a crabby little bed potato. It must be disappointing for them, but I look forward to the moment they stop asking me to hang out all the time. I was the chubby awkward kid in high school. Now I'm relatively fit and still awkward and can't ever tell if women are interested or not. Guys are more obvious about it and has led to some creepy emails at work. I used to be tiny, like 98 pounds at 14, tiny, and so I got picked on a lot. I grew up in a super conservative Christian household, and my parents stressed that I could only hang out with other Christians. Not sure how it happened, but I developed a lot of social anxiety that still gets at me to this day, especially when it comes to women. Finally I hit puberty at 16 and literally doubled in size in 2 years. I'm told on a semi-regular basis that I'm hot or cute, but I still don't know where to go from there. Mainly I feel that they're only interested because of how I look, and that if they got to know the real me they'd lose interest. Anytime I do put myself out there I end up embarrassed and I lose all brain function. I have had a few girlfriends, but most have been short-lived or ended for mundane reasons. I've all but accepted my life alone, and it's becoming more and more difficult to put my hopes in someone without coming off as desperate. But hey, c'est la vie. This post just made my day. I just don't care about the small talks. I hate being the center of attention. And I can be super awkward if I don't know you enough, that is, if you don't have the same last name. I have 2 friends. I don't call anyone else. I don't have a Facebook account. And I don't care. I am a good looking guy. Women approach me from time to time and I just don't know what to talk about, nor even feel like I should talk about whatever BS people talk about. Don't get me wrong. I am probably attracted to you. I just don't have good social skills, and I am struggling at pretending I want to know more about your life in general. I don't consider myself more or less intelligent than the average person. When I meet new people, I just can't have a fake conversation, and frankly, I probably don't really care about you. I'm mainly concerned about how am I going to get out of this and considering my options. I don't think you are useless, nor do I think you are useful. I just don't think and want to go home to spend time on things that matter to me. I was always told things will change as you get a little older. Well, that is today and I still don't care. And I am totally fine with my life. Amen. Ugly in middle school, attractive after puberty, and a good haircut, better dressing habits. I developed a weird sense of humor when I was younger since I stayed home a lot. My parents let me watch a lot of Seinfeld, Arrested Development, Friends, and The Simpsons when I was younger, so a lot of my weird humor stems from watching those shows at a young age. I also happen to talk a lot when I'm nervous, which is often. So sometimes I'll make a weird joke but someone else will take it seriously, and then I'm left awkwardly trying to explain that it was a joke. My boyfriend points it out sometimes, and then I'm left in an anxiety spiral thinking about everything else I've ever said that was also awkward. I've gotten better at pretending to be completely normal. I call it my office personality, but I still tend to make things awkward accidentally when I'm out and about. I've learned to embrace it. I was a sheltered Christian nerd in high school, and I only sort of grew into physical attractiveness around 18 or 19. Because I started working at it. I got contacts, cut my hair differently, dropped all that baby weight, but I was still an emotionally distant shut-in with no social skills. Here bordering 30, I'm much better at social interaction, but it's mostly because the mask I build up for social interactions is a good one. Unfortunately, when you build an entire friend group around a lie, you begin to resent everyone, including yourself. I can't read social cues worth a dang. I get by on smiling and mirroring people, but it's a pretty shallow mask I have on. I may be talking a ton one day and be completely silent for a week. I'm awkward in texts and messages, usually just be blank and not have anything to say. I misinterpret jokes and attempts at friendship a lot, and while a lot of women show interest, they are often too intimidated to approach, and I am too awkward, so if I approach I tend to scare them off. The women who do approach get quickly turned off at how socially inept I am. Grew up a loner with cold, stoic parents. It was a pretty isolated upbringing, so I never learned how to bond and form relationships like normal people. On top of that, I am pretty sure I am on the autism spectrum. Even after all these years of study social skills, I don't really get it at all. Like Social Cues is a book written in Chinese, and while I can tell that it's written in Chinese, I don't understand what the book is about. Fake it till you make it, but I am 27 and it feels as if I've been faking it my entire life. I think my story's a bit different from most. When I was younger, pre-high school, I wasn't really considered attractive by anyone. At least anyone who I thought had any valid opinion on the matter, but that didn't bother me. I was extremely confident in myself, to the point of cockiness really. I was kind of a dong to people thinking I was being funny. I became aware of this jerkiness and decided to become a more empathetic person. I completely overcompensated though and ended up becoming a very self-conscious person with a horrible self-esteem. I developed this new personality around the beginning of my freshman year in high school. During the same time I hit puberty and grew into my perceived physical attractiveness. The popular girls, I guess you could call them, started showing a lot of interest in me when they showed nothing but annoyance before. I really had no idea how to deal with all of this attention. They were usually really pretty and I even had a mutual crush on a few of them, but I could never let them know that. I was always too afraid to make any sort of moves or make hints towards the possibility of a non-platonic relationship, because I could never really understand why they would like someone as crummy as I thought I was. I was just going to let them down eventually. One of them even asked me in study hall, "Do you even have any idea of how many girls like you?" and I just kind of brushed it off. Then she followed up with, "What, you don't believe me?" but I didn't answer. I believed her, I just didn't believe they had any good reasons to like me. I'm a second year in college now and I still haven't had a girlfriend. It doesn't really bother me though. I've always enjoyed being alone. Other people just make me stress myself out. I've been talking to a counselor lately to try and get back some of that old confidence I had. College life can be pretty difficult when you are too afraid to push yourself to do anything. I also believe I developed a pee addiction during my personality flop. Maybe that has something to do with my mentality. Thanks to anyone who read this. I've never expressed anything close to this topic with anyone other than my counselor. I'm not much of a writer. Hopefully it wasn't too hard to get through. Was ugly as heck all through the early years of high school. Then my acne cleared. I put on some muscle because of my job in high school and got a haircut when I started college. I had Jesus hair. Went from a 3, 4/10 to a 7, 8/10. I don't know. Things didn't really change. Just got easier. People were just more friendly, especially women, and actually talked to me. Over time my social anxiety has slowly gone away. I'm still socially awkward to some degree, and probably always will be, but I don't lock up if somebody talks to me anymore. I'm attractive, but being attractive makes it worse in a way. I always feel that spotlight effect and people say it's not real, but when I walk in a room I see girls smiling and pointing at me, it just reaffirms it. You'd think that'd make me feel great, but I'd rather just go unnoticed. I think physical attractiveness is subjective. I am happy with how I look and with my proportions, but I also have things I don't like about how I look. I think everybody has that. I do consider myself somewhat socially awkward, but it's not that I don't like people or that I can't talk to people. I'm just not very good at social interactions and relationships, and I have trouble trusting people. This might have something to do with having been bullied, or it could have something to do with my perfectionism or my upbringing. My boobs changed me, not even joking. I was your average girl, really shy and awkward. Many of my friends and family said I look pretty, but I always thought they're just saying that. I wasn't taking good care of myself or how I dress or look. Then over the course of one summer puberty hit me hard. Suddenly my boobs started growing and really fast. I really hated it during the holiday cause I was constantly changing bra sizes and many of my clothes didn't fit well. Then first day of school came. I was just walking normally like I do when I realized that a lot of guys are now checking me out. I'm usually the invisible girl that no one cares about or even sees, but here they are. When the teacher asked us later to pair for science projects, 2 guys almost fought to be my partner. I was dumb enough to not know what the heck was going on till a friend of mine pointed it out to me. Well, all the attention I was getting made me more confident. I started taking better care of how I look and dress. Started talking normally to guys, and soon enough I was on my very first date and haven't stopped since then. I kinda skipped straight from everybody is avoiding me because I'm fat and creepy and just draw alone all the time, which they can't relate to everybody is avoiding me because I'm tall and muscular and make a living as an artist, traveling all over, which intimidates them, and they can't relate to, except for the occasional awkward compliment or fannishness. Those two extremes actually play out in incredibly similar, alienating ways. I tend to hate attention. When I hook up with girls, I'm never satisfied. It's not because of looks. The most beautiful women I've met have been some of the most annoying. I like girls who are comfortable in their skin and basically just cool to be around. I can be me and they can be themselves. It's perfect. If I had a story to tell you, I probably wouldn't be so socially awkward. It's more of a lack of story that makes me a bit socially awkward. I grew up a scrawny nerd with glasses and braces who dressed poorly and thus was pretty shy in social situations. Early high school I lost the braces, got contacts, started working out and learned how to dress, but I still am shy in some social situations. I'm not as socially awkward anymore, and TBH I kinda own it now. If that's part of who I am, I might as well own it. I have no idea how to dress and I still don't. I can't confront a girl unless she initiates, even if I know she's into and tells my friends. Like, I just always get that awful what if feeling. I get hit on frequently at parties, but I hate hitting on girls. It sucks. This requires A, an ego enough to consider yourself attractive, while B, having the social skills of a fish. So you'll either get A, egotistical people who think they're hot crap, or B, people in the middle. I'll go with B and say I don't like people. I feel so vain answering this comment, but I just am a typical introvert. Some people say I look like the type that likes to party, which I do, but I prefer being with a few close friends or watching a movie on a Saturday night. People tell me I look good. In my mind, I'm pretty average. However, I have a lot of trouble interacting with women in a romantic setting. It's like my brain just locks up. You know how your computer will occasionally freeze so you can move the mouse, but you can't actually click on anything? I feel like that. I know what to say and when to say it, but my mind just doesn't make the connection with my mouth. My boobs and hips started growing earlier than my peer. Like, the curve of my body developed when other girls' bodies look like little boys. I got made fun of by majority guys in my grade constantly. They would talk to each other about my boobs and hips. Being very young, it was very shameful to me. I stopped eating and hoped my boobs and hips would stop growing. Not until college I was confident about my body, and recently last year was the year I finally feel comfortable with myself. I am in mid-20s. Like they say in Shallow Hal, it's the ugly duckling syndrome. Not great looking as a kid, but gets better as they grow up. To an extent, I have some of that. Talking about a friend. The awkwardness that would usually turn people away from her if she was not attractive makes her more intriguing to people. Once you start to know someone, or become friends, there starts to be expectations. Once you have expectations of someone, you open yourself up to disappointment and pain. This works both ways. I want to have as much fun as possible without hurting anyone. I know sometimes it's unavoidable. For instance, if someone likes me and I can't reciprocate those feelings, it'll hurt them, and I don't like to hurt people. I'm extremely honest with people about my thoughts and feelings in an effort to avoid misunderstandings, etc. Yet, I rarely meet anyone else with the same level of honesty. Almost everyone will hide their true feelings because it is to their benefit to do so. So often in my life, I've thought I had developed a particular bond with someone only to be proven wrong. It's happened enough that I must consider that there's something wrong with me, while also realizing the unfortunate possibility that the people I associated with were coincidentally buttholes. Everyone should learn to be happy without depending on others. I've gotten to the point where I'm happier by myself. People assume a lot. They don't really understand that an attractive person can be socially awkward. They don't think since I have a pretty face that there's a reason for it. People think I'm a bee sometimes because I'm so quiet and rather listen. Also, since I'm bilingual, every time I try to speak, my words get mixed up since I'm so anxious, so I say word in English but as if I was reading it in Spanish, which then makes me more anxious, and then it's a never-ending thing. Sure, I do get away with a lot, but it's a double-edged sword. Having to go to a lot of places and knowing I'm meeting people makes me have an anxiety attack. If I get a compliment I just freeze and just can't find the word to either say thank you, so I just end up saying how they are wrong. So as many awkward moment I have, I still find them funny as it's become my life. I think I'm like a 6-7. I'm not good at intros or small talk with people I don't know. Just have zero freaking clue. Plus I don't really go out that much other than the gym really late. Otherwise I hide in my office. I can't control other people, so I stay in environments that I can control. 100% of the time that environment includes only me. I was a late bloomer in high school. Puberty hit at 17 only, so I was a short baba-faced girl for all of elementary, junior high, and high school. Lots of bullying due to this, and had the naive, innocent, childish label attached to me in my group of friends which spread outward to other people. Since I was treated this way, I guess I became socially awkward as well. I've tried to shed the label as I got older, but there's an ingrained awkwardness still, hard to shake off. The good thing about it is I also developed my humor and was known for being funny since I wasn't one of the pretty ones back then. One of the most common remarks I get as an adult after someone's met me is how strange I am. It's like people think attractive people can't be socially awkward. Luckily I've found a cell who's as awkward as me. We get along awkwardly. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.